5 minutes still. Ugh. Sorry for people who watch this on the recording, and I'm just sitting here. It's like 5 minutes to 1, so people still need to join. The sun feels so good. I'm gonna light incense. Too bad no one can smell it. Have to come to an actual class in person to do that. After quarantine. Do we have anyone? Not yet. Here's my incense bowl. It has sand in it. And this one is wood called Palo Santo, and it smells really good when you burn it. This is sandalwood incense. I'm gonna burn this one because it is not as intense. Sierra! Hey! Are you muted? Hello? I'm lighting incense before I start. Yay! So smoky. Yay, now it's gonna smell good. Yeah, I think you might be automatically muted upon joining, but you can unmute if you want, or you can keep it muted. It doesn't matter. We have Jay. I can't hear you, but mute should be on the bottom left. That's okay. It looks different on a laptop than it does on a phone too. I have my laptop that I'm recording from. Give it a couple more minutes. I forget that I changed the settings that I have to admit people. I wonder if I can change that right now. Because then I don't want to start until everyone that I sent a link to is here. Oh, allow participants to unmute themselves. Okay. We're getting there. Hi, Ethan. Okay, there. No, I don't have anyone that has to wait in the waiting room to be admitted. That sounds silly. Sierra, I fixed it so you can unmute yourself if you want to. I didn't realize I had it turned on to disable you. No? That's okay. All right, well, I fixed the settings so I don't have to admit people to join anymore, so we can go ahead and start since it's 1 o'clock, and anyone else who joins later will automatically jump in. Okay, cool. So welcome, guys. I'm happy to have you here today. Wherever you're tuning in from, I am in Michigan, and fortunately, it's like 50 and super sunny here today, so that is nice, puts you in a little bit better of a mood. So I know all of you, welcome, happy to have you here today, and I have decided for these times in quarantine, a lot of people have been dealing with just like emotional like fluctuations from dealing with so much news coming in all the time and feeling like you have to keep up with it and it keeps changing and it's stressful to deal with. So I want to focus on balance today to help everyone to physically and mentally feel a little bit more stable in their lives. I think that's something we can all use. So a couple things before we start. Normally in an in-person yoga class, I will instruct students to listen to their body. So if throughout the next hour of practice, let me grab my phone so I can make sure I don't go over on time. During the next hour of practice, I want you to, if you need to, just relax on your mat. So if I'm in a pose and you're like, this is super challenging and it hurts my body and I don't like it, just give yourself a little bit of a break. That's okay. The point of yoga is for it to feel good. It should feel like a challenge, but it shouldn't ever feel like, oh my gosh, this sucks and I'm in pain. That's not what we want. So make sure that you listen to your body. If you have any questions, feel free to just put them in the chat, and then at the end, I'll be happy to answer those, or you can go on unmute and you can ask those as well at that time. So let's go ahead and get started. And in the past, one last thing. In the past, I have played music during the class, but the feedback wasn't very good in the audio between picking up the music and picking up my cues. So I have playlists on Spotify that I've created. So if you ever want access to those, I can share them with you so you can have music to go along with your yoga practice. Or else you can mute yourself and just play your own music of your liking. So that is the end of my announcements, and let's get started. We'll just begin in a child's pose on our mat. So reaching our arms nice and long overhead, and then placing your forehead, just resting it right on your mat, starting to take some nice deep breaths here. And let yourself get settled in. Starting our practice with a little bit of grounding here. Start to feel your hands connected to the ground, as well as the ground supporting your body. Start to become more aware of the breath. Notice if it's short and shallow in your chest. Try to lengthen it and deepen it into your belly. Soften at your hands. Soften around your jaw. And soften at your heart. Take one more full round of breath here. And then bring your chest up into a table position. And then step your right foot back so it's extended. And reach your right arm up towards the sky. Opening at the chest here. Take a big breath in. And exhale. Another breath in. Exhale. One more breath in. Exhale back to center. Switching sides, heart opener to the left. Reach all the way up on your breath in. Exhale it out. Another breath in. Exhale. Final breath. Exhale back to center. Sit your hips back again to your heels. And this time reach your arms up and to the left overhead. Feeling a nice stretch all along that right side of your body. And again, take a few rounds of breath here. A little bit more grounding. On your next breath, switch sides. Hands shift over to the right and kind of sink those hips back to the left. So you feel a nice stretch along your left side. Again, resting your forehead and just start to slow that breath down. Coming back up to your table position. And just start to rock front to back here. Actively press the pads of your fingers, the tips of your fingers here, into your mat. Start to warm up through those wrists. Moving with your breath here. So you'll notice that some parts of practice, I will actively cue the breath and we'll all move together. Whereas other parts of practice, I will allow you to free flow a little bit more, connect with your own breath, and just find what feels good for you. Now shift those fingers so they're facing out and start to sway your weight right and left. Rock back and forth, actively pressing through those finger pads. Start to feel that core activating here as well. And then we'll flip our hands over so that our fingers are facing our knees. And then gently again, rock back and forth here, front to back, being sure not to dump all of your weight right into your wrists. But just start to feel the sensations in your fingers and your wrists as they start to get warm. And then we'll bring our hands to the top of our mat, tuck our toes under, and lift our hips up towards the ceiling for our first downward dog. So this is one of those opportunities where you can start to pedal out at the feet. Just do what you need to do in your downward dog before we start to get flowing. So maybe press into the earth, moving through the shoulders, opening up at the chest. Find a little mobility in the spine. Reaching that scapula all the way up. Or you can even lift your feet up to the sky for some hip openers. So listening to your own body here and what it needs. Maybe stillness is all you ask for today. We'll meet back in downward dog. Take a breath in. Exhale it out. Fill up. Let it go. Breathe in, lift those heels up. Exhale all that air out, slight bend in your knees. Start to look up between your hands. And then hop or step to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, breathe in. Forward fold, exhale. Reach all the way up to the sky, big breath in. Forward fold, exhale. Reach back to the top, breathe in. Forward fold, exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Low plank, exhale it out. Upward dog, breath in. Downward dog, exhale. So when we step back to our low plank, I hopped, but you always have the option to step there. Listening to your own body, meet yourself where you're at. Take a big breath in. Let it go. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath in. Raise those heels. Bend at the knees. Exhale it all out. Hopper step. Halfway lift. Breathe in. Forward fold. Exhale. Reach tall. Breathe in. Sink down to four corner pose. So this is going to be your right shin, side of your shin, is going to go on top of your thigh. And we can come into prayer hands here and then sink our hips down. So if this is a little bit much for you, we're just trying to focus on the balance of the pose here. So you can always just bring your right foot off the ground, take prayer hands, play with finding a little bit of a level change, but whatever works for you. So sinking into this pose on our exhale. Take a big breath in. Let it out. Stay active in that foot on top. One more breath in. Forward fold, exhale. Reach to the sky, breathe in. Sink down to the opposite side, four corner pose. Breathing in. Exhale. Another breath in, strong through that core. Exhale a little deeper. One final breath. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Sink to chair on your exhale. So really engaged in our core here. In your chair pose, you can choose to keep your arms overhead, up next to your ears like I am, or you can choose to take prayer, or you can take a bind if that's in your practice. So again, find what feels best for you today. Another breath in here. Sink a little lower on your exhale. One more breath in, open at that chest. Forward fold, exhale. Go ahead and step your feet about a foot apart. Find a slight bend in your knees. Bind at your elbows for ragdoll. Take a few rounds of breath. Just let gravity pull that head down. Let your head be heavy. Connect with that breath again. Notice the warmth you might feel in your body, or the different sensations that have arisen since we've begun. On your next breath, step your feet back together. Reach all the way up for a breath in. Big full breath here. Find a little extension through the spine at the top. Exhale all the way back down to the floor. Step that right foot all the way up to the sky. Standing splits here. If you want, you can keep your hands on the ground, or you can play with hands leaving the ground here. Take a few breaths through this movement. Trying to get quiet in the mind. Whew. And if you lose balance, not judging yourself, just noticing. One more breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Reach back up to the sky, breathing in. A little bit of extension at the top. Forward fold, exhale. If you have a block or something that you can use as a prop, that would also be really helpful through these balance poses. I know some people are not as practiced with standing on one foot, so be sure to, even if you have a wall next to you or a couch or something, you can use that to facilitate your practice until you get to a point where you can go without any props. So forward fold, let's send our left foot up to the sky this time. If you choose to take your hands off the floor, just take your time with finding that balance and that standing leg. Feel your weight over the center of your body here. Strong through the legs. One more breath in. Forward fold, exhale. Reach up to the sky, big breath in. Step it back to Crescent Lunge. So we'll take our right foot, step it back this time. So both feet are facing forward here. Arms up next to our ears. And we're in a strong lunge position. Taking a breath in. Hands to prayer, exhale. Now we're going to play with shifting our weight forward back into those standing splits position we are in. But then on your exhale, slowly lower back down to your lunge. Go through that one more time. Inhale, come to your standing splits. Exhale, lower back down to the mat. And then we'll just rotate to switch sides here. So in these balance poses, I know they might be rather challenging, but just make them work to the best of your ability today. And make sure that, like, the mind can sometimes defeat ourselves in these poses and just be like, oh, that's too hard. But really try to stay mindful of that throughout the practice and see if you can get that mental chatter to kind of quiet and go a little bit deeper into your practice. So raise your arms up overhead. Take a big breath in. Exhale, reach to the top of your mat. Float that back leg. Coming back into Crescent Lunge. Take a big breath in. Exhale, float that back leg. Coming back into Crescent Lunge. Take a breath in, reach up. And exhale to wide leg forward fold. So just come straight through the center, getting a nice stretch in the back of both legs here. Again, let the back of the neck relax, let that head hang heavy. No work to be done here. Just let gravity do its thing. Checking in, soften between your eyes, around your forehead. Soften at your jaw here. Find a little bit of stillness. One more round of breath here. Get completely empty. Shift to your left side, and then either grab that block or open up to a triangle. So if you have the block, bring it onto the inside of your left foot. If you don't have a block, you can just reach towards the ground here. So again, opening the chest. It's another heart opener here. Take big, full breaths. Another breath in. Exhale it out. One more breath in. Exhale, fold over that front foot for pyramid pose. Pull up and in at your belly and kind of push your tailbone towards the back of the room, feeling a nice stretch in the backs of both legs. Again, if this is a little bit too much of a stretch for you, you can always come up a little bit higher, placing your hands right on your hips, or even you can move forward and find a wall to assist you. You can use the wall to push off of to send your hips back further and feel more of a stretch to the backs of your legs. One more round of breath here. And then we'll switch sides, coming to the other side. Again, grab that block if you have it. If not, just move right into that triangle position. So for triangle, our toes are facing the top of the mat, our front toes, our back foot is parallel with the back of our mat. Our hand comes down to the inside of our right foot this time. Reach that left arm up towards the sky. One more round of breath. On your exhale, fold forward over that front foot. I don't know what just happened. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. It just kicked me out. We're in pyramid pose. One thing I do want to mention about this pose too is you can always stagger your feet a little bit wider. Some people find that a little bit more comfortable to get a stretch in the backs of their legs. Your next breath, we'll switch back to the left side. This time we're going to bring our chest all the way up to the sky and then raise your right foot up into an airplane. Find a focal point on the ground out in front of you. You can have palms facing the sky or the floor here, whichever way you want to rotate at your shoulders. Strong through that back foot. Strong through that core. One more breath in. Exhale, coming to half moon. I'm gonna grab my other block. Half moon, our back foot's gonna float. And if you are able, open your chest up to the sky. If this is a little bit much for you, you can always modify coming down onto your knee here and do a modified half moon. So this is an option too. And if your wrists are a little tender, coming onto a fist position will help to alleviate that pressure. Taking one more breath in here. Exhale, forward fold. Reach all the way to the top. Breathe in. Forward fold, exhale. Switching sides here. So stand back up to the top on your breath in. Left leg shoots back to airplane. Keep that focal point. Just keep your gaze right out in front of you. Imagine squeezing the inner thighs together here. Relax at the jaw. Take one more breath in. Exhale to half moon. When you're ready, exhale to forward fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. A full breath out, exhale, forward fold. Slowly bring yourself down to your mat in a seated position. And then we'll lie our body back onto the floor, keeping a bend at the knee. We'll move into bridge pose here. So hands can just rest next to your sides. On an inhale, we'll lift at the hips. Exhale, lower. Starting to feel connected to our core here, really engaging the abdominals and feeling the spine as it moves vertebrae by vertebrae when you lift and lower. So again, lift all the way up to the top, big breath in, and slowly lower. One more time. Lift all the way up. Slowly lower down, exhale. Bringing a little bit of balance into this, we're going to lift our right foot off the ground this time. Same thing, really try and stay stable through the hips here and keep that core engaged. So we're going to lift, push that left foot into the floor, lift those hips as high as you can. Lower, exhale. One more time, lift that right foot. Press the left foot into the ground, lift those hips. Lower, exhale. Switching sides. Left foot extends, right knee is bent. Actively press that right foot into the ground, and on your inhale, lift at your hips. Exhale, slowly lower. One more time, breathe in, lift up. Exhale, lower. Bring those knees into your chest and hug them and just rock left and right here. Massage that lower spine into the ground. We'll move into legs up the wall. So bring your feet directly overhead. And then hands can just rest next to your sides. Take a few rounds of breath here. Again, if this is a little much for you, you can always choose to bend at the knee to shorten that lever and make it a little less intense on your core. If you want to up the challenge, I invite you to play with slowly lowering your legs down to activate that core, and then squeezing your inner thighs together and exhale as you bring it back up. One more breath here. Drop those feet back to the floor, and then let's go ahead and drop the knees to the right and gaze to the left. Getting a little bit of twisting action here. Take a nice full breath. Coming back through to center. Switching sides. Drop those knees to the left. Drop our gaze to the right. Coming back to center. Again, hugging at those knees. Slowly rock back and forth and make your way up to your top of the mat. We'll move into a half pigeon. So shoot your right leg to the back of the mat, and then a slight bend in that front knee. So some people will instruct half pigeon that your shin needs to be perpendicular to the top of the mat, but I like to focus more on just making sure that your hips are in a comfortable position. So whatever that means for your front shin. All we're working on is getting a stretch in the outside of this left hip. So take your time in this half pigeon position, and as you feel more and more able, as your body relaxes and is able to stretch further, you'll come down onto your forearms, and then as you take deeper breaths, you might be able to drop your head all the way to the mat. But take your time with letting that hip start to stretch. and relax. So in this latter half of class, I will be less focused on cueing you all and more allowing you guys to just take your own breaths and feel the stretch. Take one more breath in. Exhale it all out. Come back into tall arms and then come onto that knee. So your knee is stacked under your hip and then shoulder will be stacked over your wrist. We're going to go back into that side stretch that we did at the beginning of class. So just take one big breath in here. Exhale it out. Windmill your way to the other side of the mat for half pigeon on the other side. And if this upright position is a little bit much for you, you can always take half pigeon lying on your back, bringing your foot on top of your left thigh, and then reaching through and pulling that on the back of that leg. So again, that's going to stretch the back of the hip. So that's just a modification. If you can try it, see if it feels better for you. Some people just have a little bit of knee pain that they'll deal with in this upright position. So again, taking your time, bringing your chest and your head closer to the ground. Take a full breath in. Exhale it all the way out at your belly. Back up into tall arms, making our way into that modified plank position here, side plank. Reaching that arm overhead, take a breath in. Exhale it out. Come through to center, making your way into a frog pose. So our feet will be facing outwards. We're working on our external rotation of our hips here. So as you're able, start bringing your chest closer to the floor, and then possibly bring your head all the way down to the floor, or you can stack your fists and drop your forehead onto your fist. Or if you need to stay in long arms, this is an option too. Just finding where you're at today. A final breath in here. And a nice long exhale. Slowly bring yourself back up to a seated position. Move into a butterfly stretch. So bring the soles of your feet together here. You should feel a stretch on your inner thighs here. And if you are able, you can start to bring your chest forward to get more of a stretch in the outer thighs. Making our way into a wide leg seated forward fold. So make sure that you sit up nice and tall. Take a big breath in. And then forward fold on your exhale. Feeling a nice stretch through the backs of the legs here. Not pushing into any pain through these stretches, just going to find that edge. And then taking a deeper breath and maybe finding a little bit further of an edge. Bring that left sole of your foot in towards your right thigh. And then I'll give you two options here. You can either choose to reach tall and fold forward over that extended leg, or you can reach tall and do a side, kind of a side stretch to reach towards that foot. So wherever your body is needing to feel that stretch. And you can choose to, like I said, free flow and move between the two. Moving with your breath here. Switching sides, bringing that right foot towards that left inner thigh. Take a full breath in, reaching tall. Exhale and slowly lower. You might find during these longer stretches that your mind starts to kind of trail off and wander. So one thing to help with that and bring your presence back within your body is to focus on the senses. So focus on smells in the room that you're in, or sounds that you're hearing in your home, and start to bring yourself back to your current activity. Focus on the sensations in your body, the slight stretch that you feel. And then bring your legs to a completely extended position, so they're both out in front of you. And then I just want you to play with finding some space between your toes here. So we'll focus on a little bit of a stretch in the back of the legs. So we'll reach up, breathe in, forward fold, but then start to spread at the toes. A lot of us don't have very good awareness or that like mind-muscle connection in our feet. So just start to kind of wiggle and create some space in your toes, between your toes. Wake up those feet. As you're ready, make your way down to your mat for our final pose, our resting pose of Shavasana. So you can take this with your soles of your feet together, hands up next to, or hands by your sides. You can have hands up next to your head, like in a field goal position, or you can just have legs extended. So find what your preference is for today, for this point in time. And then again, start to connect back with the ground. Feel that ground supporting you. Feel yourself being held. And let yourself just rest. Start to bring a little bit of movement to your feet, to your fingers. When you're ready, slowly roll over into a comfortable position on your right side. Take a few more rounds of breath here. Letting go of your body completely. There's no work left to be done. As you're ready, make your way up to seated. Thank you all for joining me in this balance flow today. I hope that it brought you kind of back to your center. I hope that it rounds out the end of last week and is a great way to begin this next week. Like I said, this whole last week, at least in Michigan, the news was crazy, and unfortunately, it kind of got the best of me. So with that said, I want you all to remember to focus on the things that you can control in your life right now. Focus on the things that bring you light and that bring you energy and all of the things that you love, whether it's people or music or activities like yoga. That's all that we can do right now. So thank you all again for joining me. If you would like to support, I do have Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. It's totally not necessary, but it does allow me to better invest in technology and stuff so that I can provide a better experience to you all. So have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. And again, thank you for joining me. Maybe I'll see you next week. I usually do this every Sunday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're not able to make it, I can always send over recordings for you guys as well. So thank you. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself or I can check the chat. I don't think there was questions. But yeah, thanks guys. See ya.